And welcome to another episode of Hard Factor. It is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021, episode number 641. As we said yesterday, Wes is off celebrating his birthday. So it's me, Will, Pat, and Mark in the house today. Bubba is producing as well. Boys, how you feeling on this Tuesday? Ready to go?
I'm feeling great.
What are the odds Wes
Feeling real good.
takes a trip to urgent care for a torn ligament?
Yeah, he says he's bowling, right? So I'd say like maybe a 10% chance he injures himself, but there's 100% chance he is going to overeat because he's been bragging about how much he's been eating recently and like how much weight he's gaining. So
I'm not
I think
sure
he's going to make a point of it.
I'm not sure he's going bowling, honestly. Because he texted me before the show and asked me how Coming to America 2 was. So
he's already eaten himself into the couch.
I think he's on the couch just chilling, and good for him, and fucking good for him. Happy birthday, like it's. But I don't think he went to the bowling thing.
Too much stress. The turning motion. Too much stress.
There's a lot of torque on that knee, on that old ACL. He's almost.
I think he got nervous about the knee, and he ordered in, and he's watching Coming to America 2.
Yeah. Well, Pat, nice shirt. That's the Bernie shirt.
Yeah, baby.
You had foretold that it was coming. It looks good.
Bernard Sanders.
He's so in the early days. When was that taken? In the 30s?
when he was the mayor of
Burlington,
Vermont City.
Yeah, Burlington, Vermont.
Yeah, some Vermont city that's been decommissioned for decades.
Apparently that's a cool ass town.
Oh, it's still cool. All right.
That's where Ben and Jerry's is from, right? Isn't that?
Oh shit, Ben and Jerry's and Bernie. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Whew.
And Groovy UV, everything, bro.
Yeah, Vermont's what is it? The Green Mountain State. People like to smoke weed up there. Well, we got what do we got? Well, Mark's got like a huge story in the middle, so we got like a shitload. We're just gonna cover all the best stories, okay?
It's just a ton of news.
It's a news dump as always on Hard Factor. Let's get going. I'm up first with. I don't know, fellas, if you remember, there was a presidential election late last year. Do you remember that?
You're being cute, Will.
Crazy week. Basically, it all came down to Georgia and Pennsylvania after several days of not knowing who won. And of course, as we all remember, there was a massive amount of mail-in ballots in all states, especially those two that took a while to get theirs counted after the polls closed.
Did any of you fellas mail in?
Well, Nevada was mail-in only.
Basically. Oh, so you did.
So I did.
Mail in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not I.
Yeah, okay, so we have two in-persons and a mail-in, but mine was no choice. Everybody had to vote by mail. You might also remember that Bill Clinton was the last Democrat to win Georgia for the general presidential election before Joe Biden. And you see, what's that? What you got, Mark?
Obama didn't win the first one in Georgia. I know that a lot of those states in the southern area had Obama for like one of the two elections. Georgia may not have, but there were some southern states that had Obama first election.
Please fact check me real time, but I believe Bill Clinton was the last before Joe Biden. And well, regardless, the Biden win didn't sit really well with the very Republican state government of Georgia, who has now passed a bill in their Senate, 29 to 20 votes. Bubba, you have a picture of what their Senate looks like. That will become law soon, that revokes the right to vote for no excuse remote voting. So you can't no excuse mail in. And my point of showing the Georgia Senate there is that the state may have changed a little bit in its demographics from 2005 with Atlanta being a growing city, but the state Senate in Georgia is the same. The demographics are the same there.
Oh, yeah. And white.
That looks like it's been around longer than that Bernie Sanders picture on Pat's chest.
It looked like building. It was a photo from the same era.
Yeah.
So anyways,
McCain took Georgia in 2008.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
There we go. So under Georgia SB 241, voters would need to be 65 years or older, absent from their precinct, observing a religious holiday to be required to provide constant care for somebody with a physical disability, or required to work quote unquote, for the protection of the health, life, or safety of the public during the entire time the polls are open, to be an overseas or military voter. One of those conditions has to apply to get an absentee ballot in Georgia now. So basically, you have to vote in person.
How does this keep black people down from the people that brought you Jim Crow laws extended through this year. Do you guys remember the special Senate runoff? That is a law intended to keep the African Americans out of power. So why now, Georgia, is the question. Why are they doing this?
Well, it's a good question. The bill was introduced in 2005. That's why I mentioned it before, when they allowed no excuse mail-in voting. And then the Senate was like, nah, not a good idea anymore after this last election. We're taking that back. So good question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it keeps anyone down pat unless they don't have enough stations to vote. They're too spread out. They're not in the right areas you're talking about. If there are,
you just can't vote from. You can't
if there
vote
are
mail-in.
enough in-person voting locations, then it doesn't keep anyone down.
I'm just used to Georgia keeping the black voter down, so I assumed that was the motivation. That seems to be their modus operandi.
They're not happy with how this last presidential election went. That's for sure. All told, 40 out of the 50 states are seeking to revamp voting rules after the disastrous 2020 election that left the nation reeling for multiple days without knowing the outcome. And the federal House passed H.R. 1 last week, which is basically a federal level attempt to block a lot of these state level changes that are being made. And President Joe Biden has called on his administration in an executive order last week for the agencies to submit ideas to him on how to expand voter access within the next 200 days. So the executive branch trying to move things along within the administrations. The House of Reps passed H.R. 1, which is the Voter Rights Act. It may have a different name as well. But all eyes will be on the actual president, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, as the voting rights bill makes its way to the Senate shortly. Well, I've heard that the other Joe has his hands full with the new Space Jam footage anyway. But I'm not sure if you had that picture.
Oh,
yeah. So
no,
the Joes,
he'd be sniffing Lola #1, Lola, the old Lola bunny.
I don't know. He's into this new woke Lola.
He's sniffing whatever bunny's in front of him.
Whatever's in front of him. Yeah.
So the Joes have their hands full. And yeah, I mean, basically, voting rights is the next showdown after the stimulus package.
Let's clean it up. Let's clean up voting. Like who? Good.
Well, it's kind of competing bills, right? So the feds are trying to do it one way, and the states are doing it a different way.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we can all get on the same page.
That'll really clean it up when everybody's passing conflicting bills.
I don't think the motivation here, though, is to clean it up. I think
the motivation is to empower their parties. Both sides.
This is to
both sides. It's to empower their parties.
You know, guys, we're as much to blame as anyone because we've almost all but given up on the cunt pack. So, like,
I'm still down with the cunt pack, Mark. I'm still into the cunt pack.
Mark. Actually, elected officials are to blame.
Okay, I mean, fine. If you don't want to, be hard on yourself, we were supposed to clean up voting ourselves with our or at least say that we were, so that we could get money.
It just seems like technology is moving in a direction that it doesn't make sense to be like, you know what, we're gonna double down on in person. It just I just don't.
These were mail-ins only, so mails. It's not like you're canceling.
Mail-in is the original internet.
No,
it's not technology.
It's not technology.
They're just not letting you vote remotely anymore. So anyhow, the voting rights stuff is going to be a huge showdown. I think that it's less about people like you guys were just mentioning and more about just the parties wanting to stay in power. And this is just the two of them doing it as publicly as they can, claiming that it's for the people the whole time when it's really just for their own fucking, self-preservation. And that, that's politics. And that meme of Joe Biden sniffing Lola Bunny's neck is so good. It makes me want a hand-painted portrait of it. Lucky for me, Hard Factor is actually sponsored by the best commission painting business in the world, paintyourlife.com. If you want to give a truly meaningful gift, you've got to try paintyourlife.com. Get a professional hand-painted portrait created from any photo or combination of photos at a truly affordable price. Choose from a team of world-class artists and work with them until every detail is perfect. User-friendly platform lets you make a custom-made order, hand-painted portrait in less than 5 minutes, straight from your phone or your computer. Quick and easy process. Get a hand-painted portrait in about 3 weeks from the time you order, and go ahead and try to think of a more meaningful gift than a custom commissioned painting. You can't.
I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm not going to do that. You can't.
It doesn't exist. It does. Spoiler alert, it doesn't exist. This is the most thoughtful way to treat a loved one, especially during these times where we don't see each other in person as often. At paintyourlife.com, there's no risk. If you don't love the final painting, your money is refunded, guaranteed. And right now, as a limited time offer. Get 20% off your painting, 20% big savings, and free shipping, which on a painting,
Fuck you.
It's unbelievable. It's an incredible deal. To get this special offer, text the word factor to 64,000. That's factor to 64,000. Text factor to 64,000. Paint your life. Celebrate the moments that matter most. And here's a disclaimer. Terms apply. Available at paintyourlife.com/terms. Again, text the keyword factor to 64,000.
Thank you, Bubba, for the pro images there.
Yeah, it looks like Bubba hand painted those promo graphics.
Oh no, I didn't see him. Bubba, I'm sure they look stunning.
Yeah, look, Bubba's hooking us up.
Those are real professional.
Yeah,
YouTube.com.
Well done.
Oh, Pat.
It's even got the It's even got the promo code on there.
Pat is giving Bubba shit for
Got the promo code
adding
kind of
graphics.
Scrunched up next to the.
Also, a little too busy for your life.
Bubba might have failed his spatial painting class. That's okay.
Wow.
Guys, let's
All right,
talk NFTs or non-fungible tokens. NFTs, hot in the news these days. Hot in the news. You guys been hearing about these NFTs?
Dogecoin NFT?
I've been knowing about NFTs.
Well, get ready to have your brain explode. Now, this shit is mega confusing. So I'm going to read you what an NFT is, the definition of it from Investopedia. Okay. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, are cryptographic assets on blockchain with unique identification codes and metadata that distinguish them from each other. Unlike cryptocurrencies, they cannot be traded or exchanged at equivalency. This differs from fungible tokens like cryptocurrencies, which are identical to each other and therefore can be used as a medium for commercial transactions. Follow me?
No, not really.
No.
So they are Bitcoins.
Nope. Because a Bitcoin is like $1, right? There's 20 billion of them or 20 million of them, right? There's
Okay.
however many dollars are in circulation.
NFT
$1.
is a form of payment. You can use it like a grocery store.
Kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
So
I used to work in that. And
I think you're thinking of EBT, which is
No.
food stamps.
No, I know what EBT is.
No. Well, okay. So in this case,
NFT, there is a different NFT.
non-fungible token.
NFT. Okay, keep going.
Also financial, very non-confusing.
The idea, right, guys, is that the token is for something unique, a one-of-a-kind thing, right? It's not like a Bitcoin where there's 20 million Bitcoins just
So
like
it's a transactional identification code.
Yes, kind of like that. We'll get deeper into it. So the majority of NFTs that are being traded right now are via the Ethereum blockchain. So it's using blockchain technology. So what does this mean? Well, NFTs blew up this week, guys, with the launch of the NBA-backed platform called Top Shot that trades, quote, officially licensed digital collectibles. So essentially digital trading cards with one clip of LeBron dunking selling for $208,000 earlier this week. So for a digital trading card, short clip of LeBron dunking, $208K.
That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. Why can't you just download the picture?
Well, you can download the picture
for free.
You can download it for free.
What?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So why would you pay $2,000 for it?
Because
you're
it's
an idiot.
yours.
Yours? Well,
Because
it's
you're a
yours too
fucking
when
idiot.
you
Yeah.
download it from the internet.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. It's on
Yes.
your computer.
No, not in the
Put it-
future. Not in
Slap
the
that
future.
baby on a hard drive. All yours.
Not in the future. Well, before we get into that, and I'll
This is
explain
like
that,
buying a star.
it's kind of like buying a
It
star.
is. It's like, and thank God NASA didn't make me pay.
If we ever go to all the stars, I
Right.
own that one.
It's exactly like when I put my name on the Perseverance, except like all you had to do was just type it in, and it didn't cost any money.
This is ridiculous.
Yes, similar but different. Here are some other digital assets, guys, that sold this week and their prices. So for $590,000, this animation of a cat that you might know as Nyan Cat, which
Hell
is
yeah.
a classic meme. So now
Nice
someone
gift.
owns that meme, that GIF
Yeah,
meme.
we do because we're playing it right now.
Right,
Weird,
Bubba,
right?
Bubba
Looks like
clearly
Bubba owns it.
Clearly owns the
Yeah,
the
Hard
gift.
Factor owns Neon Cat.
How do we get
put
it?
it-
It's crazy.
bank it.
All right. This next one sold for $1.5 million. This pixelated drawing of a so-called CryptoPunk. So that's
Oh.
1.5 milli.
Let's just sell it then because we have it.
Well, we can't because we don't have the NFT code. We
It
don't
looks
have
like it.
the digital signature. It's not been recorded to the blockchain that we're the owners of
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Oh no! But if it's not recorded to the blockchain, how could you possibly own it?
How did we get it?
Well, I don't know. It's crazy. I pulled some strings, guys. Also, this series of mediocre digital art from artist Grimes went to auction and sold for about $6 million, boys. Grimes dropped some digital art. It's like fair. It looks like poor man's Avatar. And you may have seen earlier this week that Kings of Leon. Well, here's the art. Yeah, look at that. That's worth.
I saw
some babies with wings on them.
Oh, okay, this is Grimes, and there's a sword planted into a mountain.
That looks like a cool video game.
That's cool, like a sword in the stone, except it's in the middle of like the Arizona desert.
I'd pay $3 for this.
Well, what would you? I still don't understand. Why can't I just download that?
You can.
We just
okay.
Did.
Yeah,
but we're going to get into it. Stick with me. So you may have seen Kings of Leon, a rock band who is so competitive that after being teamed up with one of them in a game of shuffleboard once, I quickly had to make an excuse for why I had to leave the bar, because I feel like if I'd stayed, the lead singer would have punched me in the face because I'm really terrible at shuffleboard.
He has like I read an interview with him. He's like, he gave himself an alter ego, calls himself the Rooster. When he's
we don't want to get that's for a Patreon show. I'll tell you guys all about my night with Kings of Leon
with the Rooster. Wow,
didn't he date what's her face?
He still is married to that supermodel.
To a very frustrating.
What's her name?
Singer actress from like A Walk to Remember and all those movies.
Mandy Moore. I think you're thinking of Ryan Adams. Anyway, Kings of Leon recently announced that they'll be dropping their new album in the form of an NFT, so you can get this album.
Go fuck yourself.
That sale's gonna do great.
Right. So the other thing, kind of
that's a real good way to open up your sales. It's only accept Dogecoins for it.
Something like that. So the other thing, kind of to y'all's questions, buying an NFT doesn't mean you get the copyright, right? So if I draw a picture, Mark says I want to own that picture. He pays me $1 for it. I give him a work for hire agreement or some sort of bill of sale. Now Mark owns the copyright to that. Nope, not in the NFT world. You essentially don't get the copyright, but you get the license and which is like an unbreakable chain of title. That's the idea.
Is this like Monopoly in the future? People can charge rent for people using their images or something? I don't know.
100. Okay, so yes, well, let's get into it. So here's how it may work in the future.
You landed on my NFT. You owe me
theoretical.
$1.
Well, yeah, you're not actually buying the art, though. You're buying a piece of code that goes on the blockchain.
That says that you have the art to that blockchain. And then, like, who's to say that I can't just make my own blockchain and assign myself the ownership of everything?
I'm going to start selling my cat's turds. It seems like people will buy anything.
Mark, because that's a physical thing. Okay. The NFTs can only apply to digital
right,
assets.
It's even better. It can only be a file on the computer.
But I think the idea, guys, is in the future, right? Okay, so like in the art world, I don't know if you guys have seen that documentary on Netflix about, it's called Made You Look. And they're essentially talking about like one of the biggest art frauds in the history of art fraud. This woman sold $80 million worth of fakes. Chain of title, ownership, authenticity is a big issue with physical assets. So with the NFT, you can say like, no, I'm the original owner of Neon Cat.
Oh,
and in the future,
NFT stands for not fucking there.
That's actually pretty good. But in the future, theoretically, you could like enforce your copyright law, right? Like, sorry, bro, you can't use Neon Cat because I own Neon Cat.
But it's not recognized by anybody but that Bitcoin.
This is like the emperor with no clothes.
It will be.
He's buying all these invisible clothes.
Like, you think the U.S. Trademark Office is going to fucking like agree to go buy the Dogecoin?
Like, well, it's not Dogecoin; it's Ethereum.
NFTs.
They would be so excited to do that. They would be so happy to do that because it would make their life so easy.
Okay, if they could, if they had, then they'd have to put all of their own shit on it already, and they would have to fucking like own the coin probably.
Well, the Library of Congress will be on the blockchain.
This is what Yellen is going to do. She's going to take over all the coins, and
this is going to take me years to understand
into government shit.
This is going to take me several sessions to understand. I'm not.
One other fun thing about NFTs, guys. This is a cool part. So if you're an artist, right? You can build a commission into the NFT. So you get paid as the artist every time the NFT changes hands. For example, this digital artwork of Joe Biden and Donald Trump shadowboxing in the nude by digital artist Beeple was purchased for $67,000, right? And then it got flipped for $6.6 million, which people got a 10% commission.
Great gift.
Well, so far that's the best one.
I mean, it's a great gift, but like, I don't understand why just a naked Biden and a naked Trump like duking it out.
So, like in the future, if someone's like, "Man, I want to see that naked Biden, naked Trump meme or GIF," then they would have to go to the dude that owns its website.
Why
everywhere
can't
else
you
on the
No,
internet,
but that's not gonna happen though.
Why
Like,
can't you just deep fake it?
there's also so many steps from today to that future.
Mark,
Like, why are people
Why
banking on it?
Why can't I
happening?
just deep fake one?
Mark, you just brought up a really interesting point in copyright law, right? So, like, if you change something enough, right,
Then you can't
then
sue
it
me.
becomes a new copyright.
Oops.
So
Oops.
that's
You didn't notice I changed the shade of Trump a little bit there?
exactly.
It's mine now. Yeah.
And the argument of like how different
Yeah, and I
is.
registered on 18 different coins than
Yep.
yours. So
This is gonna fail miserably.
The best way to think about it is like for video games, it's going to crush. Like you can buy like the World of Warcraft fucking shield
right.
and you have it forever. That's
Yes.
really the best application of it, in my opinion.
That makes sense. That
okay,
makes
so
sense.
each coin can be a video game. Video games.
I
like
get it.
currency.
I get it for video games for
Right.
like the different shaders and stuff for your vehicles.
You
and
could
your
have like
outfits.
Warcraft coin.
I get that.
whatever else.
Your sword looks like this and blah blah blah. But for images on the internet, like a LeBron James dunk, I don't fucking get it.
Yeah. The other crazy thing is people are
Getty owns that image anyways.
people are buying the coin, right? Like Grimes put forth a token to buy her NFTs. And then some people didn't fucking buy any art with it. They just held on to it. And then the market on speculation shot through the roof like a cryptocurrency. And they were able to just sell their coin for more money. It's fucking insane. Anyway, guys.
So people are going to be gaming these NFT things for like spikes.
They already are.
Them. Okay.
They already are. It's nuts. So guys, but if you want to check in more on NFTs and crazy shit, I will have a better understanding of them this week on Stereo. So I believe I am going live on Stereo tomorrow, which is Wednesday, with one of my compatriots. Not sure which one, but if you haven't, download the Stereo app ASAP. It's very cool. It's like a live podcast where you can leave voice messages and we answer questions live in the chat. It's totally interactive and friggin' awesome. Sign up for Stereo and give us a follow. Mark's is Hard Factor Mark. Will's is Hard Factor Will. Wes's is Hard Factor Wes. Mine is Pat Cassidy. If you give us a follow, you'll be notified when we go live. It's usually around 5 o'clock on Wednesdays and Fridays, twice a week. And if you stay tuned to the end of the show, I'll play you a little clip of what a stereo is like so you can get a taste. And join us. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Very
if you
fun.
go to our pages through stereo.com/hard factor, Mark, Will, Wes, or Pat, it actually helps us out more. So that's the way to do it.
Sign up.
stereo.com/
Sign up at one of those URLs. Follow. Enjoy.
Okay, guys, this segment's a heavy one as we're going to try out the race corner for the first time.
Whoa! I mean, it seems like a risky title for
Yeah.
a segment.
I didn't really put a lot of thought into it. It's not pussyfooting around as we record this on International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day yesterday. We're a day late. But shout out women, shout out pussies. But now I must navigate 4 stories that are race related. First up, we will start with the serious stuff and work our way to the comical. Yesterday was day 1 of Derek Chauvin's trial. Chauvin's the former Minneapolis police officer who jammed his knee into George Floyd's neck for several minutes, killing him May of last year. It's already starting to get fucked up day 1, so this one should be crazy to watch throughout. On day 1, they were set to do jury selections and some other pretrial motions when the prosecution team requested to reintroduce third-degree murder charges and then sent that request to the Court of Appeals, which caused Judge Peter Cahill to send the jurors home early day 1 because the Court of Appeals wasn't getting back to them fast enough. So now they're already behind on the jury duty. They sent the jurors home. They're likely to resume the jury selection today unless the Court of Appeals comes back and says we need more time to think about the murder charges.
I had seen that the local government there had already hired like influencers like in advance, anticipating this to be a complete shit show.
They ended up not doing that, Will.
They didn't do it.
It's going to be a shit show
They
either
didn't
way.
do
though.
it.
It's going to be a shit show either way. 16 of the 50 potential jurors were already dismissed from their answers in the questionnaire. So 16 people failed the impartial test either because they are impartial or didn't want anything to do with this probably lengthy trial and filled it in horribly on purpose. Like, this will get me out of it. This will get me out of it. This will get me out of it.
Of course, if you're in a job that you absolutely despise, people are wanting to get on this because
Right,
it's going to last for months.
Yes.
People write in the question, what makes you horny, and then answer it, dead bodies. And that will get you out of jury duty 9 times out of 10.
I answered mine in semen. I just filled in the bubbles with a little bit of pre-cum.
I forget how I got out of jury duty last time, but there was a question on the Texas form. It was just like a clear one that was just like if you answer it one way, there's no chance they would select you. So I just I forget what it was, but I just selected that option and I was
what's that baby shit?
denied.
Just bring some meconium. We'll get you right out.
Mm-hmm.
So already 16 jurors are gone. A few other things happened. Our Chauvin's defense team asked the judge to reverse his decision to throw out George Floyd's 2019 arrest as part of the trial, as they say it's relevant. And they asked that the autopsy from the independent doctor the Floyd family hired not be allowed, and only the county medical examiner's autopsy be allowed for testimony. We're not going to get into the details of this case day by day like I just did. That would take too much time, but you can watch it online. Actually, it's like you can go and watch the trial in its like entirety, I think, online. Also, lastly on this one, as you saw the picture earlier, if you're on YouTube, there are hundreds of protesters, 300 to be exact, that gathered outside the Hennepin County Government Center in Minneapolis, where the trial is taking place, as can be expected throughout. They're probably only going to be more.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, next up, Jefferson. Unless you guys good with that one?
Well, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I think everybody's been nervous for this trial to start, rightfully so, because it's going to be highly, charged for sure. And then regardless of outcome, it's probably going to be intense. In any way, whether different communities are going to be have a big reaction, no matter how it plays out.
Agreed. We'll keep our eye on it. We'll keep you updated. Next up, Jefferson Circuit Court Judge Olu Stevens on Monday granted the local prosecutor's motion to dismiss all charges against Kenneth Walker, who was the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor.
Nice.
So it was for the shooting and wounding of a police officer in the tragic incident where the cops no-knocked and shot and killed 26-year-old Breonna Taylor, and Walker shot and injured a cop. I think he shot him in the leg. I forget. But he has permanently been dismissed of all charges and cannot be recharged. He was originally charged with assault and attempted murder and now is completely in the clear. No drugs were found inside the house the night of the raid, and no officers have been charged in Taylor's death. All right. Ready for some fun ones?
That's a good one. I mean, he was let off.
Fun race stuff.
That is good, except for the no officers charged and some other stuff. But yes,
right. The way the ending there wasn't so
good
hot,
for Kenneth.
Good for Kenneth.
But
at least they're not going to charge. At least they're not going to charge the guy who was shot at. Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Papa John, disgraced founder and former employee of Papa John's, did an interview with One American News Network where he says, "Let's just play the clip, Bubba."
And smearing your good name. How did you feel at the time when you were seeing these headlines?
State of shock. Unbelievable. I couldn't understand it. I mean, again, you have a public board that paints its chairman complicit, passive, or active. They paint the founder as a racist. They know he's not a racist. It's just unbelievable. And I used to lay in bed just going, how did they do this? And we've had 3 goals for the last 20 months to get rid of this N-word in my vocabulary and dictionary and everything else because it's just not true. Figure out how they did this.
He's got a whole team.
Because it's not true. 20 months to get it out of his vocabulary because it's not true. What does that even
spending
mean?
20 months trying to scrub the N-word from his vocabulary.
Because it's not true.
In what universe did he think going on OANN to say that with OANN's child anchors that are fresh out of college, interviewing Papa John, saying that he's like, man, it's been a hard 20. I'll be honest with you, every day.
I mean, couldn't he have asked them? What couldn't have been live? Couldn't he have asked them to scrub that part?
What's his mind even thinking right there? Why is he? I don't even know.
What has he been doing for 20 months? What is he taking Rorschach tests with pictures of black actors' faces, and he's being forced to blurt out the first thing that he thinks of? And,
biting his lip.
And they're just shocking him when he says the N-word. Like, no, Papa. I said it again.
You worked at it for 20 months.
What has he been doing for 20
How
months?
often did you say it before?
Yeah.
Is it every other fucking word?
20
He's got a group of people helping him.
Don't say it. Don't say it. All right. What the fuck? What is he practicing? What does he mean he spent 20 months trying to get? I don't know. That was
throwing him curveballs. They're telling him that they're playing him It's a Wonderful Life and then putting on Friday.
They're telling him racist jokes and seeing if he can't drop one.
They're showing him pictures of Black Santa. He's like, you bastards. What the fuck? I don't know.
What are you leaving articles?
That's insane.
On his desk.
Papa John remains to be just absolutely insane. No
What
matter,
a
no matter how long he stays out of the public eye, every time he comes back, he's just such a wild card.
Hey, I say keep practicing, Papa. You got this. Before you know it, it might even end up that you feel like you're black on the inside, like CNN anchor Chris Cuomo.
That's the ultimate. That's the last step of the Papa John recovery program is to say what Chris Cuomo is you're about to tell us what he said.
Once he feels like Cuomo does, he's in the clear. So look, well, why don't we just roll the clip of what CNN anchor Chris Cuomo said?
Just looking out of the window, watching the asphalt grow, thinking how it all looks hand me down.
How do you know the words to Good Time?
You know I'm black on the inside. So,
yeah,
right.
I mean,
Cuomo.
Cuomo's just having fun there. I mean, look, I don't think it's a huge deal, but I mean, well, you don't have to say that. I mean, he almost John Mayered himself a little bit there. He not nearly as bad where John Mayer said, I have my N card because I play music and
nothing better than a white guy claiming to be kind of black because he likes black music. Nothing better than that at all.
Well, it's because he was connecting with his buddy Don Lemon.
Yeah, but it's also, come on, Pat, you're in the music industry. You've been around. You've seen dudes
it was
that pull
dumb.
this move
it was
constantly.
dumb. It was dumb.
Yeah, they're like, I love blues more than I love anything else. Actually, like this, it's a major move of a progressive white guy who thinks he's woke.
He was so pleased with himself.
This is a classic one.
Look, maybe call your brother and get a one-on-one interview where you both cry and he confesses to be a gropey Greg instead. But you know,
this is a move. This is a move pulled by lame white guys everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
Mark just took the name Greg off my baby name list.
Gropey Greg. Yeah, I like that. It's a good one. GRs too.
Well, also,
onomatopoeia or whatever.
Also, I get Cuomo's like trying to like relate or whatever, but isn't that like being such like a ridiculous thing? Like, isn't that kind of not relating? It's kind of like almost offensive, right?
The internet's
it's offensive.
The internet's split on this one. I think it's pretty stupid. Cuomo did apologize on Twitter saying this. He said, with all respect to reality and our need to fight this amplification of color animus, there is no understanding what it is to live as a black person in America if you are white, but it is so important to listen. The majority must change racism. And look, I agree with the sentiment there. We need to listen, and that we don't know what it's like growing up in America black, and that we have a long way to go. I think Papa John's going to even get there, and I think he wants to, like most people. But I think we're all, you know,
he'll never.
He's fighting the good fight. Yeah. Papa is.
He'll never. In Cuomo's mind, somebody like Papa John could never get to Cuomo's level. Cuomo has separated himself mentally from he's reached a new level of wokeness that only Chris Cuomo could really understand. It's because of the music he loves.
Well,
obviously.
He started having too good a time. That can happen. He got carried away with what a good time he was having, being progressive with his buddy Don Lemon. So
this is a move. This is not. Sadly, it's
don't string the guy up. Stupid.
Everyone has room to grow. This reminds me a lot of my credit card debt. It's been out of control since I can remember. But after educating myself on Lightstream and debt consolidation, things have taken a turn for the better for me. Did you guys know the average interest rates on credit card debt are over 17% APR? Have you looked at your interest rates lately? With Lightstream, rates start at
I mean, they're terrible. If you're going straight through the credit card, it's
pre-Lightstream. I was at like 19 to 20 range. With Lightstream, rates start at just 5.95% APR.
You get that envelope in the mail. It just tells you your APR has gone up another 20% or whatever. Like,
yeah,
like, oh,
here's why the interest tripled because we found out your credit's still, you know, whatever. Fuck them. But not Lightstream. Lightstream starts at just 5.95% APR with auto pay and excellent credit. Plus, the rate is fixed, so it will never go up over the lifetime of the loan. Get a loan from $5,000 to $100,000 with absolutely no fees. You can pay off your student loans, credit card debts, you name it. It's so important to do this now, as soon as you can, guys and girls. One payment at a much lower interest rate is the way to go. Consolidate your debt. It's very important. You can even get your money as soon as the day you apply with Lightstream. And just for our listeners, apply now to get a special interest rate discount and save even more. The only way to get this discount is go to lightstream.com/factor. That's LIGHTSTREAM eam.com/factor. Got to read a quick disclaimer here. Subject to credit approval, rates range from 5.95% APR to 19.99% APR and include a 0.5% auto pay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/factor for more information.
Do it.
Bubba, kudos on that graphic. That one, look, I'll give credit where credit's due.
There you go.
Good looking graphic.
The spacing is just phenomenal.
The kerning could be a little bit better on the text, but generally
Was that transition okay? I thought it was like, oh, I'm going straight from race to joking about my credit.
It was beautiful. Okay. I don't even remember what was the last subject. I don't even.
Exactly.
Something really easy to talk about, right?
That was easy. Well, we're gonna keep bringing back that race corner.
I smell a recurring segment. All right, from Dairyman Adam comes a tale about a book burner in Texas, and if there's one thing you don't do, it's burn a book in the free state of Texas. And if there's a second thing you definitely don't do, you don't burn a Bible in the Lone Star State. Okay, that's Bible Belt territory. They're not going to take kindly to that down there in Texas. But one unnamed woman in San Antonio learned that the hard way this last Sunday, no less. On Sunday.
On the Lord's Day?
On the Lord's Day. San Antonio firefighters were called to Mid-Crown Drive near Park Village Elementary School on the far northeast side of town around 7:30 a.m. Sunday morning, just before church hours there, for reports of a duplex on fire. So that's what the cops came to. Witnesses say that a woman set fire to a Bible in her own backyard of the duplex, which then started the duplex on fire and then jumped from the Bible to her home and then the next home, the neighbor's home. I'm assuming the adjoined home there.
So the Bible burnt the houses down.
Well, she burnt the Bible, which burnt the house. So
right. The Bible was like the accelerant.
Exactly. No word on why she was burning the Bible, but it did all told leave about $150,000 in damages to the duplex. So now a man named John Bailey and his sister and their 5 dogs are living at a temporary shelter until the city can find them a new home where they can live with relatives. And the unnamed woman is in custody for arson. But I'd be more worried about the smite from God if I was her, because that's coming.
Yeah. Are you telling me Texas doesn't have like a bonus charge for burning a Bible? Because you know how we're always like, well, a crime has to occur or they have to think of it for it to be a crime. I feel like they would have preemptively covered burning a Bible in Texas.
Oh, I think they might throw the book at her.
Oh,
there you go.
Here's what John Bailey said. He said, the lady came and knocked on the door, banged on the door, and she says, "Oh, fire. It's on fire." Poor Bailey said, before adding that he hopes that some of his relatives have some empty beds after this random arson attack by a crazy lady who hates the Bible. So yeah, that's what's going on in San Antonio. Don't burn Bibles, fellas.
That's wild.
Always ends badly.
It's a big ass book. Yeah. It was like Joe Biden's Bible that he swore in on.
Burned down a city block. Yeah. All right, guys, finally, shout out Andrew Parker for this next story from the Daily Mail. Gentlemen, earlier this year, I joined a COVID-19 support group on Facebook in the hopes of doing a blog about hypochondriacs going nuts by saying things like, quote, and this is from Joe Emery Pierce, anybody noticing foods normally digested showing up in their bowels, onions, beans, casings, typically vegetables related to his COVID symptoms? Or
right.
He said bean casings,
vegetable fibers.
Yeah, that could be caused by COVID.
Those things that never show up in your bowels until COVID existed.
Right. Or Tara Yeri King, who said, does anyone own a business and find that they're no longer able to operate it properly? I own an insurance company, and these clients expect me to be there at their worst moment and to protect them and the things they work so hard for. And I'm getting further and further behind, desperately trying to catch up. Yeah, it's the COVID lady.
She forgot how to do her job because of COVID.
Exactly. Yep. So yeah, those are a couple things I saw. Lots of different symptoms with people who had COVID, both real and fake. COVID toe, for example, being one of my favorites.
Was that real or fake?
I don't fucking know, but it was a bunch of people posting photos of their weird little toe.
Right. They claimed that like if your toes turned red, you had COVID or something.
There were a ton of people that had that. I thought it was kids. Has anyone noticed? Is it that they're getting shorter and shorter in bed with how long they can last?
Right. Or like, yeah, there was
Must be COVID.
I'll put them out one day. I got a hell of a collection.
Anybody else masturbating 20 times a day? It's gotta be that COVID, right?
There's the most embarrassing things. They're talking about bean casings in their shit. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, it gets worse. But anyway, guys, but those are some of the symptoms I saw in the COVID support group. I never did the blog, but maybe I'll put them out someday. But thank God I never saw anyone described what the subject of our next story had to go through after he caught the Rona. A 69-year-old Ohio man was admitted to the Miami Valley Hospital back in August with severe breathlessness and inflammation, which had caused fluid to build up inside his lungs. The patient was obese, so they sedated him and put him on a ventilator when his condition deteriorated and his lungs started to fail. This after 10 days of treatment. Oh. So medics had to do something. They placed him face down in the prone position for 12 hours as an emergency technique to help get air around his body was implemented.
Get those lungs working.
Right. And the surgeon must have been really attractive or something, because when he was turned onto his back later in the afternoon, nurses noticed he developed a massive erection, like a solid diamond cutter. This thing was really impressive.
A 4 on the erection scale.
It was redefining the erection
Perfect
scale.
4.0.
This was a rager, boys.
That's got to prove that your COVID's done, though, right? Like if you're popping a huge wood, that you're ready to go.
Unfortunately, not. Will. An ice pack was applied to the patient's penis to try to bring the swelling down, but the stiffness persisted for 3 hours.
Wow, even
1 hour below
the horny guy.
The warning on television.
Are so hot.
Right. Yeah. So, guys, the medical staff tried everything to soften this man's erection. They put on a baseball game. They called his mother on speakerphone. They even put a picture of Larry King next to his bed, but this boner just...
I hope the whole time he was telling him, like, this thing ain't going down. Trust me.
Did they try to suck it?
Somebody's got to take care of this for me.
They should have, Mark.
I mean,
they should have.
Doesn't sound like they tried everything.
Well, it turns out this man's raucous...
There's a tried and true method.
Right. This man's raucous rager was the cause of a blood clot that had blood clotted in his dong, and doctors were left with two options and ended up choosing the less fun one, and they popped his stimulus package with a needle, draining it of all the blood.
Oh, yeah, like a blood orgasm.
What was the fun? What was the better option?
The other one that we said.
To get rid of a boner?
Yeah, to suck it. Like, why did they let him jerk off?
He was sedated. He was ventilated.
Oh shit! They needed to release him, man. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because he later died when his lungs failed. I bet they wonder if things would have turned out different if someone had just manned up and given this poor bastard a hand job, you know?
Well, yeah, he's like, they won't even blow me when I'm dying. So what did he have to live for? If they'd given him one last blowjob, he probably would have.
Horrible. What hospital was this?
Miami Valley. And that's going to do it for Hard Factor, guys.
Don't get sick there.
Don't send your loved ones to that.
Remember, you never know when it might be someone that you're caring for's last opportunity to orgasm. And I want to leave you with those words. Have a great fucking day.